Welcome back, everyone. This is the Value Breach 5 Judgment Day. We're back here for round number 2. The first round was a doozy, don't you say, Joe?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. We watched an ad nause go off. It was over pretty quickly. Like I said, no draws here. Everyone's just trying to win. It may be called Value Breach, but those breaches be resolving for winning the game as well.
Well, I'd say that's like the ultimate value. Who needs value? We can just win the game and go get lunch.
That's true. That's the best value. For sure. Win the game and get lunch. Indeed. It looks like some players did indeed do that, looking at the texture of the players going on here. We actually, the last pod was only one pod, and only had 3 players in it because the player got eliminated, and it went only like 20 minutes over the rest of them. So pretty quick tournament going on here as we already launch into round 2. Interesting thing about this pod, Kevin, it's looking kind of like the standard metagame because we have 2 VVs in it. There's 2 VV players.
VVs, it needs to be 3 VVs because that's more representative of standard metagame. It's only 2. We got some work to do.
That's true. It's not 50%. It's like 70%, right?
It's only 80%. It's way too much.
Wild. Yeah, we have 2 in this pod, which means we're going to see some cool stuff. It's 2 different builds, though. So we have the player from last round who's all in on Storm stuff, and then we have Troy who's more on kind of a mid-range, doing some extra stuff besides just Vivi with his deck. So I wonder which of those is going to come out on top, or if it's going to be neither. It could be our other players. I'm not sure what the other 2 players are running for their decks, but we're going to find out. It's Ral, Storm, Conduit, Gyruda, Vivi. What a spicy pod. So we have 3 Storm decks and blue-black clones.
Yeah, this Gyruda deck, I think, is feeling a little left out right now, but maybe they'll give him the edge because there'll be something a little different to the table than everyone else.
Yeah, honestly, they could. I would say they're in a fairly good position here, except that they're a little bit slow. But all they're trying to do is resolve Gyruda and clones to clone Gyruda to keep the Gyruda train going until they eventually win. That's basically it. They're just trying to Gyruda into Gyruda into Gyruda.
So actually, we were talking about this before the event started. One of the decks that actually interested me was the Ral deck. This is the new Modern Horizons 3 Ral.
Yes.
So this is obviously trying to storm off like a Vivi, but how is that different than a Vivi? What is Ral trying to do a little different?
They both are on different axes. Vivi provides the mana for your storm. Ral provides the card advantage. So with Ral, you're trying to flip him into the Planeswalker, ultimate him immediately, get 8 spells that you can cast for free, do it again, and then win off of that. Vivi, you're just trying to make a bazillion mana and win the game with the Vivi mana. Sometimes you're playing Curiosity on the Vivi, but oftentimes you're just doing storm things with the mana that you're making from Vivi, which really allows you to continue through your storm turn. So the Vivi deck, you're going to see a lot of cards that draw you cards, a lot of cantrips. The Ral deck, you're going to see more cards that exile stuff from the top of your library because it's more bang for your buck, and Ral's just trying to go fast. Gyruda, though, is might be looking to keep a very, very interactive hand coming in early. They Ral Monsoon Mage.
Yeah, so Ral Monsoon Mage, this is the flipped Modern Horizons Ral. This is 2 mana for a 1/3 instants and sorceries. You cast cost 1 less, and then when you cast an instant or sorcery, you turn to flip a coin. If you lose, you take a damage. Who cares? If you win the flip, you may exile Ral, and then you turn transformed into his Planeswalker side. The important parts here is the static ability and the -8. So the static is it enters with an additional loyalty counter on him for each instant and sorcery you've already cast this turn.
Huge.
And then the -8 is you exile the top 8 cards of your library. You may cast instant and sorcery cards among them this turn without paying their mana cost. So all you're trying to do with Ral is get Ral, Rui leverage at discount, and cast as many spells as possible. Flip the Ral, -8, churn a bunch of spells, and then recast Ral and do it all over again.
Yes, exactly. And you're trying to get to 6 exactly so that when you -8 him, you can immediately recast him. You have a lot of rituals in your deck that make spells, and you have a lot of other things in your deck that are rituals that make spells, rituals that make mana, and you have a lot of other things in your deck that make treasures or that tap for mana that help power the Ral out. This deck's on Treasonous Ogre.
Treasonous Ogre is one of my favorite cards. It's an old banger.
It truly is a banger, a classic banger, if you will. We love Treasonous Ogre. And any deck that's on Treasonous Ogre is just great. The Ral deck is maybe also on Vivi. I wouldn't be surprised to see Vivi in the 99 of the Ral. Poor Gyruda really left out of the whole storm train
Hey,
here.
but you know what? Garuda has a big smile on their face, so you can't be sad with a big smile on your face.
That's true. I want to talk about the Garuda deck a little bit, actually, just because they're a fairly unique cEDH deck. It's a very commander-focused deck in that it's trying to cast its commander and win with its commander's ability. So Garuda says when it enters the battlefield, each player puts the top 4 cards of the library into their graveyard, put a creature card with an even converted mana cost from among those cards onto the battlefield under your control. The idea is that you're using even converted mana cost clones in your deck, so 2, 4, 6 mana clones in order to clone Garuda and chain that effect until you can mill the entire table out. And that is your win con there. So it's literally cast Garuda, win the game on the spot that turn.
And I want to clarify more like a rules thing. Garuda is a companion, can be a companion, but this is, for this deck, this is the commander. So the deck does not need to follow the companion restriction of playing only even cost cards. It can play anything it wants because it's just in the command zone, not the companion zone.
And this is a very budget-friendly cEDH deck too, so it's one that you commonly see new players on because it's very easy to play, and it's very budget-friendly. It's very easy to build if you don't want to proxy or if you don't have the not everyone has the know-how to proxy quite yet. It takes a little bit of knowledge. So people often play this deck because you can just Dark Ritual out your commander and win the game. So and you don't necessarily need the expensive cards. You're not actually playing a lot of them to begin with.
So I actually want to spend a little bit on Garuda myself because back in 2020 when Garuda and the rest of Ikoria was first printed and released on Magic Arena because of pandemic reasons at the time, Garuda was making a really big splash that first week, doing the exact same thing you said. You're playing Garuda and just playing you ramp into Garuda and you have clones into clones, you eventually mill your opponent out. But that deck really didn't stick around because there's a lot of disruption, so that deck fizzled away in a week. What gives Garuda the staying power in an eternal format like cEDH instead of like a standard format about 5 years ago?
Well, in standard, you have a 1v1 like opponent who has a sideboard who can just put in a bunch of removal spells and brick you. Whereas with cEDH, it's because of the way that the free-for-all format influences your player decisions in deck building and playing. It means that you have to account for the fact that there's not going to be as much interaction pointed directly at you. People are trying to play more Swiss Army knife interaction, and there's a lot less interaction slots in decks in general, especially this pod. There's like basically no interaction in this pod, I'm guessing. So what you're trying to do here, also because it's an eternal format, you have way more access to clones as well. So what you're trying to do here is just cast your commander, and knowing that people likely won't have stuff, you can win off of that. They are playing defense grid. They are playing counter spells, I'm guessing. But usually, like especially in this pod, people in order to stop it need to counter a creature spell, which is hard in cEDH. There's not a lot of good creature counters that are playable in this format. Even Mana Drain doesn't really see play. And then also on top of that, you can remove the Garuda or bounce clones, but there's not a lot of single target removal that is playable and like in a lot of decks. A lot of it is stuff that it's like decks are on basically the same removal package of like 1 to 2 bounce spells, 1 to 2 like actual kill spells or exile spells or stuff like that for the most part. So the frequency of like 4 cards in a 100 card deck is low, even with 3 opponents. But then on top of that, people are not really incentivized to remove your commander when it comes out, because usually you're coming out after someone has already gone. It's 6 mana. It takes you to get there after somebody's already gone for something, and like usually removal spells have been spent.
Oh, here's something fun. The Raoul player has some stickers going on.
Oh yeah, man. Raoul uses all the mana stuff to get stickers. I'm surprised the Vivi players aren't also on stickers, just because like they're on clones. So I would have brought stickers to the tournament.
So when we talk about stickers, what is the sticker card?
Too, actually.
What is the sticker card that the Raoul player do you think is playing?
_______ Goblin is the card that they are playing. It enters the battlefield, and you get a amount of red mana equal to the number of vowels in the sticker card that you play it on. So it can get usually like 4, 5, or 6 mana. So it's either a Seething Song, or it's a little bit better, or a little bit worse. The cool thing about it is when you recur it, if you can put it in the graveyard and then bring it back with, say, an Underworld Breach, it gets a second sticker, which means that it'll then add like 10 mana instead of 4, because it adds for each sticker on it. So in Breach decks, it's a pretty good resource. A lot of people thought this card would effectively replace Dockside Extortionist when Dockside got banned, but that's not the case. It's not really good for the same reasons. There's a lot of different things you do with it than with Dockside. It's just not quite as good, and being 3 mana is huge. So it doesn't really see play outside of low-color Storm decks and low-color Turbo decks. Right, Goblin decks, too. Those aren't super common either.
So I want to drag attention to the second Vivi player. That's a turn 1 Ragavan we see.
Oh, yeah. That's a hype start for Vivi.
And I can't see what the other cards
Looks
are
like
either, but it looks
Chrome
like
Mox, I think.
Looks like a pretty fast start with Chrome Mox and Andulan plus Ragavan. That's a lot of card event going on early, but Gyruda with a Turban Soul Ring, a classic.
We love to see it. And that's pretty good. That's actually, they have, if they get a land on their next turn with another piece of ramp, they have Gyruda on turn 2, which is pretty big. That's pretty huge.
So it looks like Ragavan's heading into the red zone, pressuring the other Vivi player and trying to see if he can rip off the top.
I mean, that's who I would attack too, for sure. Oh, and that's a great card to hit with the Ragavan. We love to see a Brainstorm.
Yeah, so Brainstorm just lets you see a lot of cards, really good with fetch lands, obviously famous in Legacy, but also very applicable to CEDH as well. So we'll see if he decides to keep the Brainstorm or just cast Vivi as you see here and just kind of leave it in exile.
Yep. Looks like that's the plan. Is just get a Vivi down.
Oh, no, the Brainstorm is being cast to Treacher. Had enough mana to do both Vivi into Brainstorm to get an extra Vivi trigger, start getting that power up.
Chrome Mox be like that sometimes. What a strong start for Troy. Now, he's on the slower Vivi deck out of the two people here. His is less all in on the Storm. So seeing him off to this fast start isn't as scary for people who don't want to lose early as it could be, but it's still really strong. I'm wondering if he's going to have some disruption for Ral, because generally the turn after casting Ral, this deck tries to go off as well. And they're getting a Brain Freeze.
Yes, we got a Mystical Tutor on right now.
Are they going counterclockwise in turn order? What is going on here?
I think they're doing normal turn order. I think the Vivi player is seeing the, I'll say bottom right Vivi is seeing that bottom left Vivi is tapped out.
The turn order goes Troy, then Trenton, then Jammin. So I think they're going counterclockwise.
I didn't realize you could do that.
I mean, there's no rule saying you can't, but this hurts my soul.
Well,
are they?
So I do think they are going clockwise, but I think bottom right Vivi is seeing a window to cast a Mystical Tutor now, since the other Vivi player is tapped out and is determining this is the best time for me to get the Brain Freeze and put it on top.
I'm willing to admit that I'm just really silly and wrong here, but I think if
the damage.
Now see, he's taking his turn. They are going counterclockwise.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because Oliver is the Ral player. He's first.
Yeah, they're going counterclockwise. Yeah. I don't think there's a rule against this, but I don't like this as a commentator. This is really throwing me out.
This is unfortunate. Yeah, this is very weird.
So we got a Madamo entering, so that's just 1 mana off from the Gyruda, because we got the Soul Ring plus a Signet and 2 lands.
Yeah, we'll see if they have a ritual, but it doesn't look like it. Just pass. Now, the way they're holding their hand like that, up on the table, indicates to me, as someone used to play, that they have something else to play. So it doesn't look like a... Yep, there you go. Oh, everyone gets a Vivi.
Everyone's a Vivi player here today. See, now we are getting the correct standard representation of Vivi that we deserve.
It.
Soon there'll be 3 Vivis.
So Sakashima coming in as a copy of Vivi, except it's legendary, and you can still bounce it. So this is actually a good thing to play early, because when on your Gyruda turn, you can bounce it and return it as a Gyruda copy and keep the chain going.
That's a really good point. Yeah, Gyruda in an excellent position right now. Definitely going to be attempting to win on their next turn, I'm sure.
So we'll see what this Ral player's got. Untapped and drawn. I assume a land will be coming down in just a moment. We'll see what they have in their hand.
It could be a win attempt from Ral, honestly, knowing how that deck operates.
Displacement wave.
And it looks like they're contemplating their next action. I wonder if they're going to go for it, because it's an interesting position. I feel like they're in a good spot. There's a good chance Gyruda is holding something up, but you're not going to expect interaction out of these Vivi decks at all.
The question is, how much did he just shift the turn? I'm not sure if he had. Yeah,
they
he
just passed.
No land to have either. That's unfortunate.
Sucks.
Vivi playing a Grim Monolith, though, that's a pretty strong turn next turn as well.
Trigger Vivi and pass. This is that slower Vivi variant that we're talking about, so that's to be expected for them. I wonder, he's got to be holding something up.
And then I will tap 1, 2, 3 for Vivi.
And here's the third Vivi in play.
I don't think any of these decks are playing Soul Cauldron, at least, so it could be worse, It could be worse.
All right, so here's a big tip for Garuda, because now with the Vivi as well, I think we got, and presumably land drop, we have 6 mana. Is the Garuda player going to go for it?
I think so. I think this is it. This is their window. There's no chance Rao's holding up interaction. That deck doesn't play that much interaction. There's a chance that the Vivi with the colorful playmat, the slower Vivi might be, but this is your window. No, they just passed.
They just passed. They don't have a land either.
That's so sad. We're really seeing people suffer here. I wonder if it would have been better to make that Sakashima into a Ragavan, but they might be holding something up too.
Yeah, Rao player just passes as well.
Riveting games of Magic the Gathering going on here, Kevin.
Well, this is competitive EDH, the highest echelon of Commander.
One of the things with competitive EDH deck building, though, is we're untapping a Mana Vault with a Grim Monolith. This is some slow gameplay. I wonder if Troy is doing this knowing that the other players aren't cooking, so he can take his time, or I wonder if he's doing that because he's also in desperation mode.
It's a good interesting point. Like, you kind of watch a lot of players kind of just draw go in the past couple turns.
Yeah.
Who benefits from that the most at this table? Because normally cEDH is a pretty turbo-fast environment, but this is kind of flipping that on its head.
I think the Storm Vivi deck benefits the most because they had a slow start, but they still have most of their cards in hand. Based on what we've seen from them in the last game, it's probably just all gas. So they could be untapping and going for it this turn even. Yeah, when you build your decks for super narrow margins, like cEDH players do, sometimes this just happens. You're on 24 lands because you don't want to have to draw lands during your Storm turn. You're relying on aggressive mulligans. Sometimes you can't mulligan too deep and you just get hecked.
All right, Imperial Recruiter entering the stack. We'll see if it resolves, but what is Imperial Recruiter going to get?
I'm actually not sure here what we're going to see from Imperial Recruiter. It could be a Tandem Lookout, which would be really exciting. That would be my guess, at least. Is Tandem Lookout coming out here?
And there it is.
There it is, yep. So we're setting up for next turn, Vivi, or are we going to ritual this out and cast it this turn? We might see a land drop. We haven't seen a land drop yet.
So for those who don't know, Tandem Lookout, it's a 3-mana 2/1 on screen. It has soul bonds, so you can pair it with a creature. And as long as it's paired with a creature, each of these creatures have when this creature deals damage to the opponent, draw a card. What Vivi needed to do? Draw cards.
Every time you cast a spell, you get 3 cards. It's cracked. It's cracked. It's not a May, which can be dangerous sometimes, but it is still insanely strong. With all those cards in deck, I don't think he's worried about decking himself with a Tandem Lookout just yet. We'll see if he gets to that point. He could probably bounce it or remove it somehow.
Or just play Thassa's Oracle and don't care.
This is huge for him. It's true. And he's passing.
Yeah, this is like the most honest Magic the Gathering I've seen in a long time,
This is crazy. This is very different texture from the last game where we saw the sneaky ad nauseum coming out so early.
Nice. So
Garuda's casting something.
It doesn't look like they have a land. They're still off. They're still 1 mana off. Let's see what they got.
Oh, there we go. Now, do you think this is a Sylvan Scrying?
I could see this grabbing Ancient Tomb for sure. Trying to see if there's a way they can get to 6 mana with 1 card this turn.
Well, they have a colorless floating. They can cast if a Vivi trigger, they can cast a Mana Vault and get another Vivi trigger, and then cast Garuda this turn.
So I wonder if that's the line they'll be going for.
Or Dark Ritual.
Either one. I think both are kind of equivalent at this point.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I don't think this is a Sylvan Scrying. I think this is getting a piece to get Garuda. Seeing a spell out of route, looks like they're copying. Yes, they're casting Reiterate to copy the tutor. This has got to be a Sylvan Scrying.
So for Rao, I would think so. Well, unless the Rao knows that Garuda is going to go for a combo this turn. So I wonder if the Rao is going to try to pull a counterspell or some other piece of interaction to stop this.
Yeah, that really could be the answer here. Or they can go for some just super gas. They can go for like light up the stage, for example. It could. We'll see what they do.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so it looks like
tutor gets copied.
Yeah, so the copy and the original resolves. Everyone will be getting their own respective cards.
And we'll see what they end up getting. We might not end up seeing Rao's card, depending. Oh, no, we get a pass turn from Garuda.
It looks like they're just taking a slower game as well. They're kind of seeing what the pace of the game is and trying to match it instead of trying to be the one to eat all the interaction at first.
Yeah, honestly, not a bad play. We haven't seen any interaction out of any of these players yet. Wait, Rao just tutored and then still passed?
Sounds like a lie to me.
Yeah, it sounds like the other players are a little skeptical about this line.
Yeah,
Rao
yeah.
players like, I got nothing to see here. And
Yeah,
you just grabbed
right.
whatever card you needed.
They must have gone super risky with it, banking and drawing another land, but I know some people who are on like 18 lands in this Rao deck, so you never know. They could
That
just be
is
holding
insane.
a Born Upon the Wind and a bunch of free mana rocks.
I think like mono red and standard plays 20 lands in a 60 card deck. This is 18 and 100. Mm-hmm. That is nutty.
Yeah, it's wild.
All right, so we got a Vivi trigger. I believe that is the red adventure land.
No, it's not a land. It's I forget the name of the card, but it's from Throne of Eldraine.
Oh, it like deals 2 damage. It is a damage.
And we're getting a
leveler?
Pyroblast on Vivi. It's like something like whenever you cast a spell, it doubles the damage.
Yes.
I think, and then it's got this an adventure.
Adventure's like
side
deal
with
2, I believe.
this. Yeah.
So
And we're getting a mental misstep on the Pyroblast targeting Vivi.
So here's all the interaction that we were kind of waiting for.
Yeah, so
being
Ral-
used right now.
Throwing the Pyroblast. Or is that a Rail Elemental Blast? I forget which.
It's a red elemental blast.
Yeah. So throwing the Reb, hitting it with the mental misstep.
So right now on the stack we got the Eldraine Adventure, which is on just shock mode. I'll
look
say.
up what that card is. Yeah,
So we have the shock adventure. We have red elemental blast on top of. So we have shock adventure with a Vivi trigger in response to the Vivi trigger. Red elemental blast target Vivi, and then we also have a mental misstep targeting red elemental blast.
You take care of that. We'll let it go another cycle. Let it go.
And now we got the card on screen, Virtue of Courage. The part that's being cast right now is Ember's Blaze, which is an adventure, which is 2 mana, deals 2 damage to something. Pretty straightforward.
I don't think this is the adventure. I think he's casting the.
Can't do this on everyone else.
I think he's casting Virtue of Courage, the actual Virtue of Courage card. Whenever, so he can get a bunch of extra cards with Vivi.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. If you got the mana to do it, and if you have a bunch of counters, it's a good time to pull it off. And that makes way more sense why this is being contested over. It'd be kind of hard to argue contesting over a 2-mana shock.
We do have some politicking going on here, it looks like. Some players indicating they have more interaction. And there's the Pyroblast. I was right eventually about which one it was.
I'll respond. I'll push the BB button and may.
And we're seeing Vivi make some mana here.
Seems like a bit of a last-ditch cash-in, and it looks like the stack is finally being cleared.
There we go. Vivi is destroyed.
And Virtue here.
You never see the Ral deck playing police like this. It's really interesting to see him having
All right,
two
so Vivi gets
interaction spells.
recast with the mana that Vivi itself made.
Wow, card is so busted.
And we got the Virtue of Courage in play, which is a damage multiplier, which is quite good with
You
Vivi.
see the pass turn to the Vivi with the tandem lookout.
So we'll see if the tandem lookup Vivi is able to capitalize this, because a lot of interaction was just used in that instance. Red Elemental Blast and Pyroblast, plus a mental misstep.
Yeah.
Is there anything left at the table?
I don't know. A lot of interaction gone. I know that Garuda definitely has something. There's no way they don't. They could just have bricks, but I feel like they gotta have something. And then we'll see what Troy has. I wouldn't be surprised if Troy just gave up there and decided to hold on to more interaction and recast Vivi. He's got a mana open still. I would not be surprised at all.
Though I don't see the lands untapped yet. It looks like we might still be on an end step and with the contemplation.
Yep, we're still going. We're
Yep.
casting more spells with this Vivi.
I have a BB trigger and a.
All right,
All right, so we're killing the other Vivi with a lightning bolt.
that's a really smart thing to do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
BB trigger.
And here we're gonna see the Fires of Courage, Virtue of Courage, do its thing.
Deal everyone 1 damage and then exile the top 3 cards in the other.
That's so hype.
We get a Fergie, a Ristic, and a
So Bergie, Ristic Study, one other thing.
I think
that
it was a
didn't
Fierce
catch?
Guardianship.
Oh yeah,
very
that's
good.
Fierce. Yep, that's fire. Does he have any more mana though? He has Ragavan for combat. He can probably swing at that Ral deck.
I mean, we got this Bergie coming in, which can make more mana to help deploy a couple other things.
It's true. And he can activate Vivi a second time as well. But Fierce Guardianship, he could just Fierce his own spell to make some Vivi mana here as well. It would also draw him 3 extra cards. It seems kind of worth it. He's casting another spell.
Yeah, treasure being used.
Wild Slash coming out now. Now, Troy told me before the tournament, Wild Slash is in this deck to get around the One Ring. Damage can't be prevented from it.
But no, not applicable here. I think Wild Slash has just been used to give Vivi another tick and just get a little damage around the table and get another trigger from the Virtue.
I think he's just doing 2 damage to the other Vivi.
6 cards coming off the
Wild.
top. This Vivi deck has everything going for it.
He did indeed fierce his own spell. Oh, and there's a free mana rock.
I mean,
there we go.
It is a
He's
Chrome
in.
Box.
He is in, ladies and gentlemen. We love to see a good Vivi Storm turn, too. All right, does he have any cards in hand for the Chrome Box, or is this just going to be a free rock?
Well, free rock either way. It gets a tick on Vivi, so who cares if you imprint something or not?
True, true. You might not even want to if it's a card you want to cast.
It looks like, so Chrome Box cast, we got a Vivi tick, everyone taking in another 3 cards coming off the top. I think I see a land, and I think it's a Soul Ring and something else. Oh no, that's a Pyroblast from the Vivi play. That's not a land at all.
We love that. Looks like we have one pod that's finished so far, pod 3, with Rogsai taking the win early. Very hyped to see that. Congrats to Rogsai.
All right, so here's a Soul Ring off the Chrome Box, which imprinted, I believe, a blue card. More damage being dealt around, and this Vivi player is just going off. The question is, they're really churning through this deck. What's their end state? Are they trying to burn out the table, or is there something else they got in mind?
It's likely Underworld Breach to burn out the table is the eventual goal, but it's likely going to be Underworld Breach right now. There's a defense grid in there, that's really not good for our heroes.
So, well, Defense Grid is a very good card here. I'm not sure how applicable it is, because it seems like no one else has anything, or else they would cast it, because what's been happening for the past couple minutes has been pretty egregious. So I don't think the Defense Grid matters.
There are odds that someone could be sandbagging a Flusterstorm, but at this point, it's way too late.
I'll cast Bother.
And there's a bauble.
But we got a bauble, we got a Chanted Vapor to rebuy a bunch of these artifacts and recast and get more Vivi triggers and get deeper into the deck.
Yeah, it's over. That Chain of Vapor is hitting the Grim Monolith, the Mana Vault, all the 0 mana rocks. It is turbo over. It can bounce the Vivi and reset her as well, so that you can cast Vivi and then recast all those rocks, make even more mana. The nice thing about Virtue of Courage versus Curiosity or Ophidian is things like Virtue of Courage or Tandem Lookout that kind of pair agnostic of the creature dying, they stick around. It means you can bounce your Vivi over and over again and be able to cast spells back into her and reactivate Vivi multiple times in one turn. And there's the defense grid coming down. Now there's no hope. The only Garuda can cast spells through it still. They have Vivi activation plus 2 mana on their board, but everybody else doesn't have any options anymore. And there's another free rock.
And a red Elemental Blast, just in case anyone is trying to do anything fishy with any more counter spells. Yep. We still have a Power Blast deep in that stack of exiled cards.
There's a Curiosity in there too. I don't even think he's going to cast it. I don't think he needs it.
It does seem like the Vivi player has it in the bag, but what are the outs for everyone else? We talked about last round how Otawara is very good. Otawara is still very good in this instance, but I would imagine I would have fired off already if someone had it.
It's true. Yeah, no, everyone's just showing their hands now.
Because the problem is if you pack that Chain of Vapor, your Soul Ring, and you die in your upkeep.
So what just happened there is the player should have packed, and Troy goes, if you packed, I'm going to Chain of Vapor your Soul Ring, and you die in your upkeep. So it looks like there is interaction coming out now. The defense grid as well. We got a Tainted Pact going off. Vivi trigger from the Sakashima Vivi now.
So imagine this Tainted Pact is just trying to dig for actual piece of interaction, not just a win the game with Vast
Mind Break Trap, I'm guessing. That's my guess.
Mind Break Trap would be a very excellent one. That gets to the whole stack, if I'm correct.
Yes, that'll get everything. I think the stack right now is just defense grid, but it's still important. Mind Break Trap is just really, really important. Even like Rogsai is on Mind Break Trap in some iterations of the deck. It is a very, very good, please don't kill me this turn card.
So we'll see where they end up stopping with this Tainted Pact. Normally you don't see this. You normally see it just flip the deck over, haha, I win.
Yeah.
But now we're actually looking for something more specific.
I think it's not going to resolve. It looks like there's a response being taken to the Tainted Pact from our Vivi player.
So we have a bunch of mana floating from the Vivi. It looks like I got a Vivi activation. Or this is leftover mana just from previous iterations.
I think this is the Vivi activation.
It is? Okay.
Yeah, he's going to Chain of Vapor it, I'm sure. Yeah, he's explaining Vivi's a mana ability, can't respond to it. Let's see what he makes.
Yeah, Vivi being a mana ability really. This was seen in Modern a couple years ago with Carcoin Ironworks, where you announce an intent to cast a spell, and then you can't really do anything about it. You sack your artifacts. And I imagine something similar is being done here with Vivi, with an intent to cast a spell and using Vivi to do it.
Exactly. It's really interesting. There's some other cards that abuse this mechanic that you sometimes see in CEDH, like Hinata, for example. But it's really funny that you can just do this kind of stuff. He's made a bunch of mana, it looks like, and he's going to be interacting with, what is that? An offer you can't refuse onto the Tainted Pact. That's interesting. He does have, I guess he doesn't have anything else that can interact there, so offer's his only thing. He does have Pyro and Rev, though. Those just don't hit Tainted Pact.
The question is, like, if the offer can't refuse resolves, like, what does a Garuda player do with just 2 treasures? Like, it looks like it is resolving. They are going to get the treasures,
Hopefully
but
nothing. There's triggers, too.
Go back to defense grid on the stack.
Oh, he didn't do his... Okay, he remembered. Cool. Let her run in and tell him.
Take one exile top.
There we
so
go.
another 3 cards being ripped off the top. What do we have here?
There's a Hullbreaker Horror in there? Alright, it's over.
And the Hullbreaker Horror with the defense grid stack, once that resolves, the curtains are locked, and then this Hullbreaker Horror can wreak havoc on the entire table.
If he doesn't have enough mana, he will with the Chain of Vapor, and then Hullbreaker Horror is just going to bounce 2 0 mana rocks back and forth until everyone dies to Vivi damage. And that'll be the game. Let's see if they have anything for this.
Like I said, we still have the 2 treasures, so Otawara is still a potential from the Garuda player, but I will say it's looking pretty slim for everyone else at the table.
Yeah, there's still a Pact of Negation, too. Troy has announced that he's not going to counter the Pact. He's going to just Chain of Vapor their Soul Ray. Probably an ploy to get them to not to cast it. I would cast the Pact of Negation anyway, but...
It's actually, the Pact point is interesting, because if they do that, this Hullbreaker Horror Chain of Vapor combo no longer works, because it is forced to use, you have to pull the trigger on it early.
Well, you can Chain of Vapor your own mana rocks and Vivi.
It looks like it's
the
not
Chain of Vapor
mattering.
chain.
It looks like everyone's packing up their cards and just seeing if they had any future outs in the coming turns, but none of that matters.
It is
Vivi
over.
storming off, and if I must say, it felt like it kind of came out of nowhere.
It did. I mean, the Virtue of Courage was really, really key. That's one of the spicy cards that Troy showed me at the beginning of the tournament today when I was talking to players about what they were playing, and it was definitely key in this game, drawing him so many cards, getting access to so many cards with the Exile pile. It was a super, super good pickup to see. 5 mana is a lot, but Vivi makes a lot of mana.
Yeah, Vivi makes more than 5 mana typically. We saw how much mana it made that turn. First on the first iteration when it first played the Virtue of Courage, but then the second time it got cast, it made so much mana at the end.
Yeah, it was insane. Yeah, almost like removing the Vivi is like a boon to the deck. It's like, sure, I'll pay 5 mana and recast it. It's going to make 9 mana when I activate it next time. Wild to see. What a powerful, powerful card. We're saying today that the problem with Vivi in the command zone is that people target you out. It's a very projected deck. They know what you're going for, and they remove your Vivi. But that's not really applicable when there's 2 other decks doing more or less the exact same thing, and a 3rd deck that also has a kill-on-sight commander with the Garuda and the Ral being the other Izzet Storm deck. So you get a lot of cover hiding behind the other commanders that are must remove too.
And more specifically, if you're the Vivi player and you get a lot of target and hate coming towards you, what if there's a second Vivi?
Exactly.
They might just take the hate for you, and then you got the home clear stretch.
I think that was an argument that was literally made in the game, was why would you remove me when the Vivi with the Tandem Lookout was going next in turn order? Like, don't use your interaction at that. I think they still blew the interaction anyway, but it was very interesting to see that argument made. It was honestly pretty cool. It was a very weird pod with 3 Izzet turbo decks and a blue-black turbo deck, but it was pretty exciting to see. We're gonna go find Troy, the Vivi player, and pull him in for an interview when he comes out. So I guess I'm gonna run off and do that really quick, and I'll be right back.
And
Hello, everybody. We're back with Troy, the winner of the last game. Important question, Troy. Why were you playing counterclockwise?
There's no cops around, right?
We are on the internet.
All right, anyways, yeah. Well, I don't know, it's early, and I don't think anyone realized it because we were seated in the correct order, but yeah, I guess we did go. Something did feel awkward in the beginning, but I didn't really know. I was just so focused and dialed into the game that I didn't even notice we were playing the wrong way.
You were definitely dialed in, so in case you missed it, Troy won spectacularly with Virtue of Courage onto a VV Storm Tournament. He cast VV twice, activated VV twice, cast VV once, and played a bunch of crazy spells. He had like a good third of his deck just spread out across the table there. It was fantastic to see. Was Virtue of Courage in your opening hand there, or would you
No, I
draw
ended
into
up
that?
just drawing into it.
Nice. So what were you looking at going into that game? Because that was kind of a slow start for everyone. We were very surprised not to see one of the three Is It Storm decks go for it sooner than that.
So I started with a bunch of mana in my hand. I forget what did I have. I ended up playing it. I don't remember, but I had a bunch of mana going into it. I eventually drew the Virtue, and I was like, well, time to just jam.
Nice.
And so we ended up just getting there, and I had some really good hits off the Virtue.
Right, yeah. No, you really did hit a lot of great things. The first one was that a Chrome Mox in the first hit, the 0 mana
Yeah,
rock.
there was I hit a bunch of 0 mana rocks, which really helped, and then just able to wait to pop VV because I'm like eventually I'll hit something. I want to make as much mana as I can, so I just kind of stormed off to just make as much advantage as possible just to be able to see, because I could have fizzled, but we didn't. We got there, so.
It was crazy seeing the two interaction pieces coming from Ral of all decks too.
I know. On a Molta 4, I think, or 3.
Do you think they tutored for the Pyroblast or the Red Blast, or do you think they tutored for Gas and just had those?
Yeah, because there was just those two pieces I saw, so I'm pretty sure it would have been something to get back in the game, I think, because they were so far behind at that point on a Molta 3.
That makes sense.
I was just surprised at the amount of interaction I was able to draw into, because there was a bunch. It wasn't just an easy win. I definitely got to...
Oh, you had to politic there. We heard you saying on Player Mic that you were going to Chain of Vapor a Soul Ring if the other Vivi player packed a negation to you so that they lost, which I thought was hilarious. Some good politicking there. And they ended up not playing it. So
I mean, it was just right there. I can't not use it, or it's going to go to exile.
Yeah. So very well done there on Vivi. It was pretty awesome. Thank you so much for coming on for the interview, and good luck in the rest of the tournament.
We'll see how we do. Thank you. Appreciate it.